that's why you have some of these things like cozy blankets, holiday parties, things like that are very loving and grounding, and they help us feel supported. And those are important in the winter. Welcome to the Wisdom of the Body podcast. I'm your host, Heather Grzych. Here, we talk about the profound connection between mind, body, and spirit. Join me and other authors, wellness experts, and everyday individuals talk about the importance of listening to our bodies, trusting our guts, and living in deeper harmony with nature. So, whether you're seeking guidance on your wellness journey or simply looking for inspiration, you're in the right place. We're thrilled to be in the top 3% of podcasts globally. You can find the Wisdom of the Body podcast on Apple, Spotify, and most other places where people listen to podcasts. You can follow by joining my email list at heathergrzych.com or by following me on Instagram at Heather Grzych. That's Heather, Grzych. I know you're going to love this podcast, so take a second right now to subscribe. Hey, the topics in this podcast episode are in no way intended to be medical advice. Should you have any questions about anything discussed in this podcast episode, please reach out to your medical doctor or other healthcare professional. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wisdom of the Body podcast. I'm your host, Heather Grzych, and today I'm excited to be here with you so we can talk about rejuvenating winter activities based on the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda. In the winter, the daylight hours get shorter and temperatures drop, and it can sometimes feel like a challenging time to stay balanced and energized. Ayurveda, which is the traditional system of medicine from India, has a deep understanding of how to align our lives with the natural rhythms of the seasons. Because seasons are going to change. We just have to figure out how to work with them. So in today's episode, I'll be sharing practical and rejuvenating tips for maintaining your physical, emotional, and spiritual balance through the winter months. So whether you're a longtime practitioner of Ayurveda or just starting out to explore this beautiful system, I hope you'll find something here that resonates with you and helps you navigate the winter season with more vitality and ease. Winter is cold and dark. And then on the other hand, many of the things that we do to heat our houses or create more light in winter can have an impact on your fire element. Forced air heating is especially drying. A wet, snowy day is different than a windy, cold day. Both a wet, snowy day and a windy, cold day are different than a warm, humid day. And so lots of things are happening in winter. If you get one of these really defined winters with snow and all that, then you might notice that your hands are rough and cracked by the end of the season. You might find that your mood gets low sometimes. Let's figure out how to prevent that with Ayurveda. I'm not going to talk to you about how to avoid gaining weight from holiday cookies today, because frankly, I like my cookies. But as a wellness person, I'll say we all should probably try to avoid eating too many of them or eating them at the wrong times. Rather than chastise you for eating those holiday sweets, instead we're going to focus on how to work with the seasonal change aspects of winter so you can adapt mentally, physically, and emotionally, and just eat the perfect amount of cookies. All right, so first you've got to embrace the warming foods and the drinks, because in winter, we want to nourish the body with both warmth and grounding. You'll want to eat foods that counterbalance the cold of the season, and you're likely balancing either dry or damp qualities that come with your particular winter as well, depending on where you live. I live in Northern California, and this is our rainy season typically in the winter. So I notice in winter that our doors stick and they're hard to open because the wood swells. And when things have more humidity saturated inside them, that can be kind of nice for bodies that are on the dry side. But other places can be very dry in the winter, such as where I grew up on the East Coast. My parents actually did one thing that I feel was very, very Ayurvedic growing up. In winter, they kept bowls of nuts with nutcrackers everywhere. We could just crack a nut whenever we wanted. And it was especially helpful to have these oily, fiber-packed snacks around because our house was always dry in the winter from our forced air heating system and the wood stove in the house. Plus, it was fun to crack the nuts because we couldn't go outside and play as much in the winter. And if you've grown up anywhere where you get a snowy winter, this probably sounds familiar. You want to have lots of things to do inside because you're not going out that much in the winter. So in winter, you want to opt for warm cooked foods that are nourishing and easy to digest. You want to think hearty stews and soups and root vegetables. You can add carrots, sweet potatoes, beets. Those are excellent choices because they're all grounding and generally warming, which is exactly what the body needs in a colder season. In terms of spices, certain ones like ginger and turmeric and cinnamon are your best friends for winter. These spices are not only warm for the body, but they support digestion and help to clear any congestion or sluggishness that can build up in your body during winter. A favorite drink of mine I recommend is some kind of like spiced herbal tea, something like a decaf chai with ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, other kitchen spices as well. Some people put fennel. These herbs are deeply warming and help the digestive system stay strong. And you need that in the colder months when your digestion can slow down because you're moving less, because you're not going outside as much, because it's darker and you have less energy. That might be why you're moving less. So other spices are good too, especially for when you get a cold. So even Italian spices like basil and thyme are really good in the winter because they can help with mucus. And garlic. Garlic is very good. If there's ever a season to eat garlic in, because it can be quite heating for bodies, you want to eat it in a colder season. And if it's too intense, you can make something like garlic milk. So if you cook garlic, it's not going to be as intense. You can make a garlic milk. You can boil 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. Chop the garlic before you do that. Put it in 1 cup of milk and then boil it for 5 to 10 minutes. This might sound gross, but my parents gave me warm milk with butter in it when I was growing up. And you can also put the butter in your warm garlic milk. If you have high vata with a lot of ungroundedness and spaciness, this can be very nourishing. And I think my parents also put sugar in it, which I don't think I would recommend, which probably explains why a lot of people in my family have diabetes. I don't think you should add the sugar too. Milk has enough sugar in it, actually. A lot of people don't realize that about milk. If you're using cow milk, it has actually lactose is a type of sugar. So we have a lot of sugar in milk and we don't need extra sugar in it. And don't forget to drink plenty of warm water throughout the day. You want to avoid cold drinks as they can weaken your digestion. Keep your fluids warm to support your Agni. Just no ice. I mean, in general, you shouldn't be drinking ice, but definitely not in the winter. If your body gets very dry in the winter, you can actually even add something like olive oil to a glass of warm water, or you could add ghee to your coffee. And if you consume those additional oils, that can be very protective for a dry body and help you start to oil up your body a little bit more. And you want to make sure in winter that you have a daily routine that has both warmth and grounding. Winter is definitely a natural time for slowing down. These cold, dark days encourage us to hibernate a bit so you can rest and restore, but rest doesn't mean stagnation. So you want to slow down to rejuvenate, but you don't want to shut down completely because you still need to move so your body doesn't get all clogged and congested. So create a routine that supports your body's need for that grounding, that nourishment. You can do things like oil massages. We do a lot in Ayurveda. There's a type of practice called an abhyanga, which is a self oil massage. And that can be very grounding and nourishing and hydrating. And you want to get enough sleep. So I'm a huge fan of not getting up late, not going to bed late. So if you sleep off the circadian rhythm, you're going to have a lot of other things go wrong. You're going to have a cascade of effects that come from improper sleep behavior. So try to get to bed if you can by 10 p.m. and wake up when it's getting light out. Maybe sometime around 6 p.m. See if you can watch the sunrise because it will keep your mood very lifted in the winter, which I know a lot of people struggle with. So sleep at the right time. Don't sleep too much either because that can cause a problem. So get the right amount of sleep and that'll help balance your energy, your hunger, your lymphatics, your memory as well. And then it'll help you feel good. And while it's important to rest, winter, you want to stay gently active. I'm not talking about intense workouts, but slow, mindful movement like yoga or walking or even Tai Chi, Pilates. These practices can help you stay active, but they're also calming and supportive for your nervous system. And if it's too cold to go outside, a short yoga routine can be just as beneficial. The key is to keep your body moving without overexerting yourself. Yoga in the morning and then maybe something outdoor when it's slightly warmer outside, or even weights in the afternoon to build extra stability. So you want to nourish your mind and your spirit, because when you're inside a lot, you can sometimes start to feel isolated or melancholic. And if you're in an area with less sunlight, that can become more intense, or if it's very, very, very cold. So in Ayurveda, the Vata dosha, which governs the mind and the nervous system, can become aggravated during winter. And that can lead to anxiety and restlessness and sadness. And that's why you have some of these things like cozy blankets, holiday parties, things like that are very loving and grounding, and they help us feel supported. And those are important in the winter, to be with your people and have a lot of connection. And that could be a quick check-in with friends or family. It could be a gathering, a cozy dinner, and things like that will lift your spirits during these darker months. The emphasis on community and social connection in winter is really an important part of your emotional health, as are grounding rituals that'll help you feel at peace with your season. And you could do something, I love doing this, light a candle at night and drink your favorite herbal tea sitting in a cozy blanket, or take a warm bath after oiling your body with some nice essential oils in the water. This candle thing is really great for winter, especially because there's just not a lot of light in the winter. There's a reason that many religions incorporate candles into their religious rituals in the winter. And these rituals of the dark season can help you slow down, reconnect with your body, lift your spirits, and then help you let go of stress and feel good. So get outside as much as you can. I know it's cold where you are. I mean, where I am, it's not super cold. I can definitely go out for walks in California during the day. But even if you live in a place that's very cold, see if you can get out when it's warmest, when there's a lot of daylight. Feel that sun on you. Allow yourself to absorb whatever you can. Even just 5 or 10 minutes outside can make a big difference. This goes as well for a non-cold season, because a lot of people don't get outside enough because they're working inside all day. And so I just think getting outside and getting sun on your skin, I know a lot of people are afraid of the sun, afraid of getting skin cancer, but you still need some sun on your skin. You can check the UV index and maybe don't go out when it's at its strongest, but it's so beneficial to get sunlight on you in the right amount. So if you're unable to go outside, or if you live in an area where the sun doesn't shine as much, you can actually explore light therapy. There are different technologies that can help mimic natural sunlight to help reduce those feelings of that come with a dark season. Maybe that's slight tendency toward a down mood. But if you are not into those kinds of alternative sources of sunlight, you don't have to do that. The best way is to get the real sun if you can. So in winter, it's really important to recharge and restore. And the season's energy, it kind of tells us, hey, you've got to slow down. It's a natural slowing down season. And it's a great time to take care of your body. It's a great time to cultivate mental and emotional clarity. It's the perfect time to align with nature's rhythms and adjust your routines to nourish your body, create a deeper connection to yourself, and go inward more. Don't feel a lot of pressure to do intense cleanses in the winter. It's actually better to do those in spring. So you can wait on those, but you can do gentle cleanses. They can be good any time of the year, depending on what you're cleansing from. But those big, intense ones, they can wait, because it's really about grounding and staying rejuvenated in winter. So as we move into this winter season, I encourage you to embrace this time of year as one of rejuvenation and balance. Listen to your body's needs, focus on warmth, nourishment, and create rituals that ground you and help you feel love. By doing this, you'll not only stay healthy through the winter months, but you'll also enter the spring season after that full of renewed energy. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Wisdom of the Body podcast. I hope these Ayurvedic practices and tips help you navigate the season with more ease and vitality. And until next time, take good care of yourself, stay warm, grounded, and honor the wisdom of your body. If you are embarking on a fertility journey and are ready to have your mind blown about what your body is really capable of and how it's impacted by the environment, then check out my book, The Ayurvedic Guide to Fertility. You can actually download the introduction to the book for free on my website at heathergrzych.com. That's heathergrzych.com. Read the intro for free and then buy the rest of this fertility enlightening book pretty much anywhere books are sold. You want a full human experience when you seek a healthcare provider, and you don't want 15 minutes with someone who can't even try to find out the root cause of things because they're so overwhelmed themselves. You have a body, a mind, a heart, and dare I say it, even emotions. You're not crazy. Everything does affect you, and it's possible to feel better if you have the support you need. Set up an appointment with me to heal naturally. Go to heathergrzych.com. That's heathergrzych.com. Thank you for tuning in and dropping in with us today. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. I really want to hear your feedback. To learn more about my work, visit heathergrzych.com. That's heathergrzych.com. And meet me here next time on the Wisdom of the Body.